And we are live. How is everybody doing tonight? Go ahead and move this over. Drop the volume just a little bit. All right. Well, we're back after missing my stream on Thursday due to some family commitments that we had. But is what it is. We had to go ahead and take care of business there. So yeah, on Thursday I couldn't quite make it because we had some family members in town, and I was out at a country music bar entertaining some of our guests. So that's what I was up to. But we're back on schedule here. I have a large Akadot cluster presentation I'm doing tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. There's details on that on my Twitter and on Petabridge's Twitter as well. If you want to sign up and attend that, we'll be posting a recording to the Petabridge YouTube channel afterwards. But that's some of what we've got going on at the moment. So I've actually spent all day in PowerPoint. This is my first opportunity to actually do some coding this evening. And so in that vein, I actually wanted to go ahead and pour myself a little bit of whiskey since I've been at it all day in the PowerPoint mines, so to speak. So I've been instructed by my wife that I have way too many whiskey bottles, so it's time I start finishing some of them. So I'm going to be picking a few bottles the next, let's say, 4 or 5 streams that are pretty close to low. So tonight we're going to do Willet Straight Rye. So Willet normally makes their sort of Willet pot still whiskey, which is a bourbon based out of Kentucky. This is their rare rye, which has been aged for 4 years. It's 53.3% alcohol by volume. And as you can tell, I have enjoyed this bottle thoroughly. So I'm going to go ahead and pour some of this out. I have no idea when I'll be able to find this again. It's allocated and it's very tough to get a hold of. But you know what? It tastes great. So I'm going to go ahead and enjoy some of that. Let's see, how much do I have left in there? You know what? May as well just make it a double. Or double, I guess, drink and a half. All right. So she's done for. I'll go ahead and put a cork in that. I'll hang on to the bottle in case my wife wants to cut the top off and turn it into a candle or something. So you never know. Some of the nice decorative ones can be repurposed that way. So it smells like really rich, sort of, let's say, baking spices. So I get a lot of like caramel allspice. I definitely get some oak. I get some of that classic nutty taste that you expect in all ryes. This definitely tastes a little spicier than most ryes. I definitely get a little bit of that sort of German like gingerbread baking spice type vibe. Hey Rook, good to see you, buddy. All right. Now before I dive into doing Blazor tonight, so Rook, I just poured myself a little bit of whiskey. You haven't missed much otherwise. But before I dive into doing some more Blazor stuff tonight, I believe I found a great post that'll provide some inspiration for us, the simplest possible forms of authentication for ASP.NET. So we're going to try to implement that and just move past the authentication stuff because it's ASP.NET is extremely opinionated about it. I think the experience they made for users is suboptimal. And I'd like to go ahead and just kind of quickly move on and stick to doing really fun Akka.NET, SignalR, Backplane type stuff. So that's what we're going to try to get to next. Now, a thing I wanted to talk a bit about before we dive into coding is GitHub had an important announcement today, which is GitHub Copilot, your AI pair programmer. So this is part of GitHub's partnership with let's see, OpenAI, and I believe this is their GPT-3, which is their single shot sort of natural language generation program they came up with. People were able to go ahead and start popular blogs in the self-help space, totally just using GitHub Copilot to do everything. Blooming Tap, good to see you. So if we go ahead and scroll down through the page here, the idea is that GitHub Copilot can go ahead and actually, let's take a look at here we go. So you can actually go ahead and see on screen here, you can go ahead and write a comment basically describing what type of code that you want, and it'll go ahead and produce some of the syntax for you. And so I took a look at this, and my initial take on Twitter was I can see this being really useful for automating some of the different types of rote work I have to do all the time. Good example, I could probably use this to go ahead and handle all sorts of N+1 type issues, although you'll see that depends on being able to write your specification very carefully here, you know? So if I go ahead and scroll down, someone already found a bug in some of the code that was being generated here. I believe it was in some of this Python code. Let me go ahead and scroll down towards the very bottom here. Let's see. They might have gotten rid of it, but one of the bugs they found in the Python code was someone was working with money. Is it me, Aaron, or is the volume lower than usual? Might be me. So I actually had to re-image my entire Windows machine yesterday. So it is possible that in the process of doing that, I may have messed with my audio settings to some extent. So if anyone else in chat thinks it's too low, I can turn it back up. But yeah, I had to go ahead and completely re-image my Windows machine yesterday. Long story short, my cat lied down across my keyboard, managed to go ahead and enable filter keys or something. I spent hours trying to figure out how to turn it off. Finally, in order to get my Windows key to work again, I had to go ahead and just reinstall everything. I have a box starter script, which is able to go ahead and automatically reinstall pretty much everything I need. Yeah, the volume's a little low. Okay. Let me go ahead and turn the gain up a bit and see how that goes. Is that better? Well, there's a little bit of a delay, but okay. All right, let me go ahead and turn the gain up even more. Just a second. Okay. That should be pretty nice. All right, good. Glad to hear it. Well, we're going to be doing a big Akhenaten cluster webinar tomorrow with like 300 people have signed up so far, so I better make sure my audio levels are good. So thanks for helping me sort that out tonight. What I was pointing out was someone on Twitter noticed that there was some Python code that had been contributed here. See if I can find it. But long story short, that Python code was handling money, and it was using floats to go ahead and do that, which is a major problem. You do not want to use a floating point number to handle currency, and the reason why is the precision of a floating point number can be lost in transit. As a result of that, people can actually go ahead and lose some of their money. So you always want to use the decimal type, which is basically a lossless precision type. It uses a lot more memory than a float does, but that's how you want to handle people's money. So the fact that GitHub Copilot could go ahead and introduce mistakes like that along the way, because it's drawing on all of, like Superman 3, exactly right. The fact that it's, or Office Space would be another good example, right? So the fact that basically this GitHub Copilot is trained based on all these public source code repositories means that a lot of the mistakes programmers routinely make are all being imported. Now, one thing I should point out that it's not my original idea, but someone else in the .NET community whose opinion I respect said that this looked like a tool that's mostly meant for dynamically typed languages. Like this is something to be used for JavaScript and Python programmers, because the static type systems in .NET already do a lot of the things you have to do here in GitHub Copilot. And here's what I mean by that. So in order to go ahead and produce, this type of code and this sort of thing right here, I have to go ahead and write a specification that a computer can understand and then turn into a usable work product. Well, guess what programming is? It's doing that exact same thing already. This kind of has moved the problem from like one area to another. In fact, actually, I wonder if this is it right here. Parse expenses. Yeah, let's take a look at this. Yeah, this is the exact one that people were talking about on Twitter. And yep, here we go. This is where they're casting to a float. That's a mistake. You don't want to do that when you're handling people's money, even in Python. You can actually lose precision, lose people's currency there. Don't want to do that. So you have to go ahead and write these pretty detailed specifications. Now, documentation-driven development is a good practice. Getting the practice of sort of describing inputs, outputs, and how this function should be used, that's always a good habit to get in. But how is this necessarily any better than just having the programmer sit down and try to go ahead and code this themselves? Well, I guess the one answer to that might be, well, at least you have some human English that kind of explains what it's doing. But there were a lot of concerns that were raised on Twitter and elsewhere that this is actually going to go ahead and dumb down programming quite a bit. And I wanted to pull up a blog post from Eric Sink, and I'm going to drop a link to this in chat. Eric Sink has done all sorts of important work in the .NET space. SourceGear is one of the products that I think his company that he's worked on for a number of years here. And so he's done work like writing low-level tools for .NET developers, transpilers, all sorts of things like that. And he wrote up a really good post on what he thinks is sort of the problem with the trend that GitHub Copilot represents. And I happen to agree very strongly with this, which is that it looks really cool. And I admire the accomplishment. I'm eager to try it, but I'm also troubled by the trend. And so the trend that I'm going to go ahead and try to find a good place to summarize this is that, in short, it looks to me like AI-assisted software development is just getting started and will probably become a very big thing. And it feels to me like yet another step towards shallow understanding in our field. So what he's referring to here is that he's consistently found that the most valuable thing that a programmer can do to go ahead and raise their game is to understand how things work behind the scenes. So being able to go ahead and understand, okay, like, you know, he gives you some examples down here. Knowing how to allocate and free memory in C++ is nice, but it's better to understand how the operating system or the runtime actually allocates pages of memory. So you understand that I have to work inside, let's say, an 8 kilobit page of memory, and that when my memory threshold exceeds this, more is going to be allocated to the process. And if that memory goes unused, it'll be pushed down to the page file. These are things you learn in like a computer organization class your sophomore year if you're doing a computer science degree, that sort of stuff. Writing SQL statements is easy, but understanding what's going on under the hood. So for instance, understanding what a covered index is, an uncovered index, what a table scan looks like, and also lock escalation when multiple programs or multiple threads in this case are all trying to go ahead and access the same table at a time. How does that impact the performance of your system? So a lot of this stuff can seem on the surface like things programmers shouldn't have to care about, but there's really no escaping it. And what I mean by that is if you're even moderately successful in getting a lot of people to use your software, that software is going to be put under load. That load can come in the form literally of traffic, where there's a lot of people using it, and that suddenly that hardware has to serve a much larger number of users than it was anticipated. And you're going to have to be pretty certain that your architecture can scale with demand. That's one type of load, and that's a good problem to have. Generally, it means that your business has been successful in getting your software in front of users. But a more common type of load your system's going to be put under is the organic growth and complexity over time as new requirements get introduced by your business, and those have to be incorporated into your software. In order to go ahead and do this effectively, Eric argues, you need to have a deep understanding of how things work at a technical level, but also why things are implemented the way they are. What is the reasoning behind building things this particular way, and how does that ultimately support the business that you're modeling with software? So the long story short of this article, and I'm not going to go through all of it, is basically that we should be encouraging developers to not necessarily, like using the example, don't write your own cryptographic systems, for instance, right? You probably don't want to write your own TLS implementation if you're just trying to build a web application. That makes sense, but you should try to understand what's the basis behind it that makes it secure. How does elliptic curve cryptography help make applications more secure? How does public and private key exchange work and all that sort of stuff? It's useful to go ahead and understand that. You don't have to write a PhD thesis on any of it by any stretch of the imagination, but at least having a grasp of what's there, why it was done that way, and why people continue to use it is really useful. Tools like GitHub Copilot kind of allied the need to go ahead and dig into that level of detail, and that may not be good for our industry long term. I happen to agree with that. I think that's being a programmer is like wearing 3 hats all the time. You've got your technical hat, which is basically you're kind of like a systems engineer. You understand, applies pressure to the system. You understand, generally speaking, what are some of the safe practices for doing X, Y, and Z, and that's all fairly technical. And that tends to be the part of our industry that gets the most focus. The second part of being a programmer is really like being an artist, which is you get to go ahead and choose how you want to express your creativity, because software is like the world's most fungible medium out there. You can go ahead and reshape it to build web applications. You can do home automation. You can write frameworks and libraries. You can go ahead and build video games. You can make mobile apps. The universe is endless. And so ultimately picking which direction you want to go in is largely going to be determined by what makes you happy and what sorts of projects you get interested in. And then the third and final one is you actually have to think a bit like a business person. In order to be successful implementing any software solution, you have to have a deep understanding of what it is you're trying to model. Software is merely the mimicry of things that exist in the real world for the most part. Now, there are some exceptions to this, but by and large, most of what you're trying to do is model a real world domain in software. Understanding at a deep level what drives that real world domain is ultimately going to help make you successful, or lack thereof in some cases. And so I agree with Eric here that I think this is a bit counter trend to what our industry needs. Stack Overflow and code camps and a lot of other things have really democratized our industry. Software engineering as a field, by the way, was already fairly egalitarian even before any of those existed. I had coworkers at Microsoft, for instance, who never had college degrees at all. So that's pretty, being paid six figures and not having a college degree is pretty much unheard of outside of the software industry. The only other place you might get that would be a winner-take-all industry, like being a professional athlete or an entertainer, for instance. So software is already pretty egalitarian, but it's getting more egalitarian. Well, these tools that make it easier for us to go ahead and automate parts of our work are probably a good thing on the whole, but attitudinally, we should want to understand, why did it recommend doing things this way? What drove that decision making? And that's not something that an AI is going to be able to explain to you, because the way it worked was its neural net was trained to go ahead and find code based on probably millions of different projects. And this is the pattern that a sizable number of users may have done from scratch. So anyway, that was a really interesting article. I don't know if this will live up to the hype. One other thing I mentioned on Twitter is that I think a much more useful application of this tool won't be generating new code from scratch, but refactoring and fixing code that's already there. Being able to go and identify and fix bugs based on, let's say, if I can go ahead and submit a failing unit test and to have and basically give an AI some constraints, like, I need you to find a way to get this test to pass without breaking any other tests in the test suite, and you can't make any changes to the public API. That would be truly amazing. That's what I hire people to do these days. So if I could have those folks work instead on doing things like creating tutorials and documentation and other stuff for other human engineers, rather than chasing down bugs all the time, that'd be a massive boon to our productivity. And I'd be willing to pay for that for sure. So what are your thoughts on Google Copilot? If you've got anything you want to add about that, please feel free to go ahead and stick it in the chat. I'm going to go ahead and move on to talking a bit about drawtogether.net. But I thought this was worth spending a little bit of time talking about this evening, because I think this represents a very interesting development and probably the tip of the spear for AI-driven programming. Certainly not the final note, but definitely the beginning of something that might be very exciting. All right. So now, in terms of where we left off last time, let me go ahead and pull up Rider here. So I've got drawtogether.net over here. Let's see. That's sort of automated test-driven development. Yeah, it is. It is kind of like that, where basically, you can go ahead and use it to track down a bug. A version of it I would also really like, for the record, would be one that could find out why a unit test is racy and fix that. That'd be very useful in my world, but I'm not going to hold my breath. So one of the things that we did, if I go ahead and grab, is we created two solutions last time. We have our test Blazor solution. And the reason why we created this was because there were definitely some problems trying to go ahead and get authorization. Yes, you're absolutely right, Rook. Fixing race unit tests is very hard. I've got a member of the Petibridge team. His name is Gregorius. His handle on GitHub is Arcat Ufus. I think it's based on a. I think it's based on. I think a video game name he came up with at some point. But yeah, he basically is spending most of his time right now trying to reproduce bugs and try to fix failing unit tests. Icarus, am I hiring people to fix tests? Well, it depends on the cost. I'll go ahead and show you what people are working on. So here's some of Gregorius's work. Arcat Ufus, I think is his username. So he's been working with me at Petibridge for, I don't know, a year and a half now. But he was a contributor to the Akka.NET project for about 4 years. So like, here's an example. We're actually making a structural change to the test kit where it turned out our average retry interval was really long. So we reduced it to 100. That way, all these await assert calls get more attempts to try to go ahead and get a passing condition. So he's been going through and essentially restructuring. Like if I take a look at some of our commits, he fixed, let's see, some flaky specs there, fixed some flaky specs there, some specs there, some specs there. He might have some other ones. Yeah, here's another one down here. This was an actual SQL bug. But anyway, so we are hiring people to go ahead and fix our test suite because right now, like if we take a look here, our fsharp.core pull request failed. And why did it fail? Well, if we take a look, because of some totally unrelated tests, this back off, on restart supervisor must blah, blah, blah. This is a problem where we have, I don't know, how many total tests do we have here? 18,000, 21,000, excuse me. Worth bearing in mind, this is the same test suite being run 4 or 5 times because we test on different platforms to try to find platform problems. .NET Core is mature enough now, we don't find very many of those. But back when we were doing cross-platform on Mono and .NET Framework, we found a lot of cross-platform bugs. But still, it's a thing you want to check because there are still APIs that aren't fully supported on Linux, some that aren't on Windows and vice versa. And you want to go ahead and be able to check for those when they come up. But anyway, so yeah, we've been hiring people to go ahead and try to fix these racy tests. That way the test suite can go ahead and pass every time it should. That way we have higher confidence that when we see a green check mark or we see a red X, that data means something. If we're getting, let's say, a whole bunch of false positives and that data doesn't mean as much, that's going to be a bit of a problem for us. All right. Now, I had a big, let's say if I go and pull up Commander here, Commander rearranged the way Posh Git works, and I don't like it. I don't like having this down here. I liked having it up there a lot better. So I might see what I can do to go ahead and rearrange this. But we had a branch called Authorization. Let me go ahead and rebase that on dev real fast. Oh boy. No files need merging, okay. Yep, that should be fine. Gotta close that too. All right. Uh-oh, what did I just do here? Commit. Rebased. GPG, no secret key. Oh boy. That's a bit of a problem. Looks like I don't have, let me just go ahead and do git rebase abort. Looks like I haven't added my GPG key since I went ahead and reimaged my Windows machine yesterday. So I'm not going to bore you with that. That's the thing I had to do. Okay. I used to work as an SDET. SDET, I believe, means software developer and test. You can go ahead and correct me on the acronym there. Most of the time, I'm fixing end-to-end tests, API and UI tests. That's something I can relate to. Developer and test, yes. Okay, good. Well, every big software company, and really every software company, needs people who are really focused on quality control and testing. So that's myself and Gregorius spend a lot of time looking at our test suite, reviewing other people's work, and trying to ensure quality control around Akka.net, Phobos, and some of our other technologies as well. Okay, so I won't be doing any commits on this particular stream, but that's all right. So we have this authorization stuff we scaffolded and none of it worked. I know why now. If I go back to dev, the reason why none of that worked is because I need to go ahead and roll our Blazor code inside the same solution as our, basically our Blazor code and our ASP.NET code should be inside the same file, but they aren't right now. As a result of that, I can't really share the authorization context between my ASP.NET server and my Blazor client very easily. I'd have to go ahead and build basically a whole separate set of APIs for that, and that'd be needlessly complicated. So we're going to go ahead and try to just do this by manually merging some things in this way. So that's what we're going to go ahead and try to do. Now, one of the things I took a little bit of inspiration from, if I go back to here, was I wanted to find, okay, the simplest possible forms authentication for ASP.NET. I do not want to belabor the point on this. There's a lot more exciting stuff we can do that does not involve, dicking around with forms auth. And so the approach that they recommended using was basically just doing services, add authentication, add a scheme for going and doing that, app that use authentication, We could try and do this. I think if we go and try to port the stuff that's in this other new solution I scaffolded back to draw together, I think that'll work. So I'm going to go ahead and create a new branch, authorization 2. And the first thing I'm going to go ahead and do is, let's see, I'm going to go ahead and open draw together.net here. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and try to get rid of as much crap as I can on the client and just merge all of this stuff into the main application here. Add Razor pages, add server-side Blazor, That all looks fine. And then I should have this underscore host.cshtml right here. This should allow me to go ahead and actually host all of our Blazor code. So let me go ahead and let's grab, let's see, everything that's on the client. Let me go ahead and do inside writer here, refactor this, move to folder. Let's go ahead and do drawtogether.ui.server. Yep. All right, let's go ahead and do refactor this, move to folder. Let's go ahead and move that to the server. Yeah, it's merging. Okay, services. I guess this exists. Okay, yeah, we'll go ahead and do refactor this. Move to folder. Go ahead and move this to the server as well. Yep. Okay, that's fine. Yep, that's fine. Shared. Okay. And then in terms of other stuff I need to move, I need to go ahead and move these fellas. Let's see. Yep, gotta do that. Okay. Go ahead and do factor this. Move to folder. Yep. That should do it. I've got a black cat walking around outside my window out here, and it's not mine. I don't know where my cat is, but he's not hanging out around here. All right. Let's see. I believe I need to go ahead and move the imports.razor and the app.razor. I need to move app.razor. Oh, no, I need to move both those. All right. So let me go ahead and grab these. Refactor. Move the folder. Gotta move that. Server. That looks good. Now, is there anything I need in there. Looks like we don't have a www root on the server, so let me go ahead and refactor that one. Move folder. Let's go to the server. All right. I think that got everything. All right, that looks nice. Okay. I think that should do it. Now, I might need to go ahead and add a couple of things to our program.cs in order to make sure my server side stuff can run okay. So let me go ahead and grab that. Let's take a look at program.cs. Use startup.cs. Okay. Okay. Map Blazor Hub. That looks fine. Map to fallback page. I probably need to add that. Let me grab it. Oh, well, we don't have one yet. I might need that. Let's see. App.razor. That looks all right. Okay. Okay. Boy, this rye is really delicious. I'm enjoying that quite a bit. Use start, layout, generate layout. All right. Let's take a look at what we've got and draw together. I think we're good on most things. Let me go ahead. I don't know what that is for, but we do need to go ahead and add this. Now we'll go to program.cs. Services to add singleton. Yeah, that looks good. We'll go ahead and clean up namespaces in just a little bit. All right, that looks good. Map Blazor Hub, that's all there. I think we've got just about everything we need. All right, so I can go ahead and delete this. All right, let's go ahead and do delete. Project folder and files will not be deleted from the file system. Well, I can go ahead and fix that. Let's see. All right. I really wish I had the ability to commit here. All right. Yeah, there we go. UI server. I guess I can just disable signing. No secret key. GPG failed to sign the data. Let's see. Just a second. If I go to github.com/Aaron on the web. All right, let's see my box starter. Repositories. Go ahead and grab this. Box starter is a really great way to go ahead and rebuild a Windows machine, by the way. It'll go ahead and run some PowerShell scripts to install all sorts of stuff. So this is what I ran last night to go ahead and get my computer back up and running. So I've got everything I need to go ahead and GPG sign everything. I just don't have a certificate installed. So let me go ahead and do this real quickly. Perfect. Okay, there we go. I just had to turn my commit signing off. I'll turn that back on when I get the chance. I just don't want to do it live on a stream, so that'd be kind of both insecure and probably not terribly interesting. Okay, that's all up and running now. Next, we've got to go ahead and, rather than have index HTML, let me go ahead and grab, if I can go to test Blazor here, let me go ahead and grab their host.cshtml. View imports. Test Blazor.pages. Login partial imports.razor. You start. All right, you know what I'm gonna do? Go double window here. Whoops. Wrong window. Okay. So I need to go ahead and add a new, let's see. You add a new page. I want it to be a, all right. You asked for it. We're going to do, let's see, view start. .cs HTML. Can I do that? Yeah, sure. All right, that looks good. Get rid of that. View imports. File. View imports.cs HTML. Yeah. And I don't want test pages. I want raw together UI.server.pages. And what's this complaining about? Let's see. 6 errors and 4 files. All right, go ahead. See what this is complaining about so far. View. If I go ahead and do build, it'll show me. Okay. More than one scoped CSS files are found for the Razor components. Each Razor component must have, at most, a single associated scoped CSS file. Okay, well, we can fix that easy enough. I'll get to that in just a moment. Okay. Here it's layout component base. Okay. Nav menu.razor.css. Right. Okay. We probably have a little bit more work to do. I'm going to get rid of the survey prompt. We don't actually really need that. Get rid of that. Okay. Next. Let's go back to this. Okay. So, imports.razor. Let's take a look here. Where's my imports.razor? All right. Let's see if my pages have the right namespace. They may not. That's okay. Keep working on that. Main layout.razor. That looks okay. Pages. Oh, whoops. Never brought in my index.razor. Well, that would certainly do it. Oh, I never brought in paint.razor either. That's a big problem. Let me go ahead and grab those. This is why we use source control. All right, pages. Oops, this should be in the draw together UI client. Grab that. That's easy enough. All right. Go back to Writer. I am really enjoying Writer, by the way. Yeah, sure. Oh, no, you don't. That's more like it. And then paint up region. Yeah, there we go. Let's grab this. This is where we did all of our hard work. Okay, let's go ahead and build that. I don't know why this thing is grumbling all about missing these scoped CSS files. Let me see if that's in the folder actually. Server, I guess this would be shared. You know, maybe it's an issue with the actual project. Let me take a look at that. Edits. Let's take a look at this. Ah, that would do it. Okay. Okay, good. Now we're in business. So let me go ahead and commit some of these changes. Fixing the imported pages. Let's go and commit that. Okay. Okay, that's looking good. That's looking good too. All right, splendid. Now, what else am I still missing? I go back to, let's see, these are a bunch of my diagrams I'm working on for tomorrow's presentation. For anyone who's interested in checking that out. All right. What else do I need here? Index, host on CSHTML. That's the one. Yeah, let me go ahead and do that. Okay. We'll do this. Let's see. Okay. Namespace new. This should be raw together.ui server. Yep, that should be great. And then I want to go ahead and render if I pull this out. Yeah. Type app. And that should be app.razor. That's right. Yeah, that looks good. Let's take a look. Hey, look at this. I wonder if the namespace is wrong. This should be shared. Why does some of these have semicolons, but others do not? Hey, Aaron, is there any way to persist Okta persistence objects into XML? Yeah, you can, depending on what Okta persistence plugin you use. So we stored, let's say, for instance, in SQLite, Okta persistence stored objects as JSON for a long time. And that's because we basically were able to go ahead and change the serialization system to store all of the data that was going into that column. Rather than storing it as binary, we stored it as text, JSON text specifically. So you can do that by customizing the serialization a little bit further down the stack. Now, we've gotten a little bit more insistent on basically forcing Okta persistence to convert everything to binary and save everything as binary objects. The reason being is it makes it a lot easier for us to go and version Okta persistence overall. That way that we don't have to have people run migration scripts and stuff like that when we do rollouts. So we're kind of phasing some of that out. So you might have to use a custom plugin to do some of that. And that's just because I spent, I think in most of 2018, I think I personally spent 400 hours debugging Okta persistence serialization errors. So we just decided there's no way we're going back to doing any of that stuff. Just kind of a common issue that we kept running into over and over again. Let's see, that looks fine. That looks fine. Where's my components? Did that not get merged? Pretty sure I brought it over. Let me double check. Oh no. Oh no. Okay. Well. Okay. All right. So looks like Ryder kind of had a boo-boo there and did not import some of my material that I need. That's okay. Got backups of it all here. me go ahead and import one of these. Let's go down to Rider. Let's see. These are components. We're going to go with components. I have no idea what file this is. Let's see. Curve.razor. Uh-oh. Okay, is there a way for me to add a folder on here? Solution. File system. Okay. Well, looks like I can do it this way. Components, no index. Add. Okay, now if I go back to looking at the solution, voila. And I think this was curve. Yeah, I think that was curve. That was curve. What other components do we have? Cursor picker. There's one that I did on like the very first night that I haven't touched since then. Let's go and add that. Curve. Is it cursor picker? Just double check. Cursor picker. Yeah, okay. That looks good. Components, color picker. Boy, we got to really fix some of these UI components. These things still look, for lack of a better word, not good. That's okay. Can always make it look nicer later. Biggest thing we want to do tonight is just give people a persistent identity that will follow them through every document. That'll give us the basis of community for this application, which is what we want. This is called circle.razor. Okay. Uh-oh. Apparently that's a little UI bug there, where if I Alt-Tab while that dialog's open, I can't write into it anymore. All right, refactor this. Okay, let's go ahead and build all that. This should be server. Namespace test Blazor does not work. Where is this? Ah. I see. All right. Okay, let's give that another try. The reference project. I thought I deleted that. Well, that's okay. All right. I think all that's actually working okay. What else do I need to bring over in order to get this sucker? Let's see. Go back here. We'll go ahead and do the scaffolding in a little bit. Okay, counter.razor. Don't need that. Don't need that yet. Post. That is fine. So look at startup. Okay. We want to map fallback to page. Reason why we want to do a page here is we can go and integrate the Blazor hosting with ASP.NET and get everything on the same, no pun intended, everything on the same page from a binding point of view. Map Razor pages, map controllers, map laser hub, use routing. Let me go ahead and add these fellas here. That should be all right. Rest of that looks good. That looks good. That looks good. Okay, let's see if we can run this. See how it goes. My goal is to move past the auth stuff as fast as we can. Holy crap. What the hell happened here? 404s. Test blazer.styles. Okay, well, clearly we've still got some baggage. Let's go ahead and shut everything down. See what's up. Alright, where did we go wrong? Use start, generate layout. My guess is there's some files we forgot to bring over and some other files we forgot to fix. And compile time checking didn't really help us much. Okay, nothing. That whole area is a bit we don't need to look at just yet. Main layout.razor. App.razor. Sure. Alright, sure. Fine. Okay, go away. Thank you. Alright. Type of main layout. That seems okay. App assembly. Few imports. Login partial. Imports.razor. Let's take a look at host.cs. I guarantee you that's where something's going wrong. Well, that would certainly do it. If I go to www.root CSS. Yeah, I guess let's grab both of these. I don't know if we need that yet. Let's give that another try. This looks like a rendering problem. Okay. We're in business. Looks like everything's up and running. Big trash can, 5862. Still had a problem of some kind. But the drawing seems to be very, very smooth. Yeah, that looks great. All right. This is even better than what we had before. This is looking really good. All right, now what was the error that we're running into? Server failed to respond. Site.css. Okay. Well, that may not be a big deal. Let's take a look. CSS, site.css. Oh, it's app.css for us. Okay. All right. That's okay. We'll go ahead and restart. We'll redo that. Okay. Wow, that's pretty cool. Server invalidated the session. All right. We are back up and running. Everything is all working. Yeah, it's looking a lot better now. I think having the server and the app inside two different solutions may have really negatively impacted performance. Either that or reinstalling Windows made a huge difference. I would hate to think if it was the latter, but this is looking very encouraging. Yeah, this tells me our client-side UI problems might very well be over. So that's fantastic. Okay, let's go ahead and try changing color a bit more. Let's do 7-7. Got a little bit of fuchsia going here, kind of like a dark purple, or excuse me, dark pink. That looks good. Yeah, this is very fluid. Wow. Cool. All right, well, I think that may have unintentionally fixed one of our major performance problems that we had. Okay, completed migration into single ASP.NET plus Blazor project. Kind of a long commit message, but that's okay. I'll go ahead and publish that to GitHub. We go back to bridge, draw it together.net. Go ahead and do a little draft pull request here. Plus project unification. I will be so thrilled if we can just get to Aki.net stuff and never have to touch authorization again. You have no idea. Okay, this is very encouraging though. All right. Now, for the next part. In fact, you know what I might even do? Edit this, integrate Blazor client and server into a single ASP.NET project. Let's go ahead and just commit this. And then we can start with the authorization stuff. Once again. All right, that's all set. Goody. All right, so that's all integrated into the dev branch. We go ahead, merge that together. All right. Okay. Okay, there we go. New branch, authorization 2. Let's run the scaffolder. Nope, don't want to do that. Glad it warned me. Okay. Add new scaffolded item identity. All right. Okay, we're in a much better starting position for this than we were last time. Let's see how long this takes. Boy, that rye went down smooth. I've got another hour left of streaming. I might get another bourbon. Let's see. This sure seems to be taking a little while. It's thinking. Let's see if anything's happening in the file system. Don't see it. Maybe I should go ahead and restart Writer. This doesn't bode well. Yeah, let's go ahead and give that a little restart there. Basically, what we're going to end up with is something similar to this. One of these little areas here. But this is my first time trying to go ahead and install this with Writer. And this looks like it's not going anywhere fast. Okay, we know what. Let's go ahead and kill that Writer process. So the drawing performance definitely looked a lot faster to me. I had no idea that would have made such a significant difference. I wonder if we can reproduce that in someone else's machine. Okay. All right, well, I've had enough waiting around. You know what you did. Unable to terminate process. Woof. Well, looks like I terminated it anyway. All right. Let's fire Rider back up. I should probably pin this. I'm using Rider as my primary IDE. I don't even have Visual Studio installed on this machine. I've been enjoying it that much. And let me go ahead and also open Test Blazor as well. Okay. Let's give this another try. Do a new window for Test Blazor. Okay. All right. Let's try this again. New scaffolded item. There we go. That looks a lot better. Perfect. Okay. I'll do override existing files. Leave empty if it is set in the eraser view start file. Data context class. We're going to have to add one. We'll go ahead and call this. Oh man, that is a nasty looking namespace. Call this DT user server context. I'll just call it DT server context. Right. We will go ahead and use SQLite. Call this a DT user. Okay. So the Blue Mentat. So here's what ultimately drove me to check out Rider. So I've been using ReSharper for close to, I want to say 10 years. I think that sounds right. At least 9. And I love it. Can't live without it. But one of the problems is that ReSharper actually runs, oh boy, fail to get project context. Well, we'll see where we ended up with running that scaffolding. I was about to sing the praises of this whole thing, but... Well, I've installed a bunch of NuGet packages. So that's about as far as we got. Worst case scenario, I can go ahead and import all of this from my other solution. Anyway, what's impressed me about Rider is that I have to go ahead and use the Akka.NET project fairly often, you know, for my everyday work. Looks like I haven't loaded it yet. Let me go ahead and grab a copy of it. Let's see. Go to Akka.NET, Show Explorer. Let me go ahead and open this. All right. Yep, go ahead and open that folder. This should, yeah, sure. We'll go ahead and open that solution. Trust and open it. We'll do a new window. All right. Here's what's got me impressed with Rider. Akka.NET is a solution that has, I think, 75 projects in it, maybe more than that. Let's see. 46 plus 12 is, let's see, that'd be 58 plus 27. That's going to go ahead and be 85 plus that 91 projects. So this is a fairly large solution. We decided to do it this way because it's just like, it eliminates a lot of things that can go wrong when everything's in the same solution together. It's just a lot simpler. But it's quite slow to go ahead and load this inside Visual Studio. In Rider, this stuff actually goes pretty fast. Like, yeah, it's already like, well, I guess not quite done loading. Let's take a look. Yeah, it looks like it's still going. Indexing. Well, this is also the first time I've ever indexed any of this stuff. Just opening up Visual Studio, even after I've been using this project for like several years, and this computer still takes forever. So everything's pretty quick on here. And I really appreciate that about the project. So Rider's been good to me. Okay, look, everything's up and running now. Great. I guarantee you if I went ahead and loaded that again a second time, it would load it quite a bit faster. And it's still doing more indexing in the background there. The other thing that makes the Akka.NET solution somewhat complicated is we target multiple frameworks and runtimes. So Rider has to factor that in too. Solution was loaded with 40 warnings. Yeah, that sounds about right. We've got a bunch of compiler warnings for deprecated methods and everything else that we haven't removed yet because we have to kind of be somewhat conservative with how we do that. But Rider's been great. Strongly endorse it. Okay. Now, let me see if I can go ahead and scaffold this stupid identity thing again. Let me give this one more try here. If this fails the second time, we're just going to manually import it. Override existing files, include all that stuff. Sure. What else says? DT server context. User class. Class of DT user. Yeah, sure. All right. Let's see if this goes a little bit better this time. Failed to get project context. Well, no idea why that failed. So I will go ahead and do what every software developer worth their salt should do, and I'll make something up on the fly. I'm going to shut Akadana down in the background here. Let's go ahead and grab test Blazor. Okay. Areas. Let's see what this looks like. Oh. Yeah, that's pretty simple. All right. We know what? I am just going to be completely lazy. Open up a new Explorer. Yep. Let's go down here. Go to repositories. Blazor. I'm just going to go ahead and copy that folder. And I'm going to paste it here. Okay. Next thing I'm going to do, code cleanup. This should automatically adjust namespaces. Let's see. Yeah, here we go. Okay, so this should go ahead and automatically adjust all the namespaces for me. Now, I haven't actually added any authentication stuff yet. But once that's all done, everything should be all running ideally inside the same namespace. Okay, and lo and behold, looks like it is. Let's go ahead and try building everything. See if that all works. All right. Test Blazor. No, sir. We want to go ahead and do draw together.ui.server. And where is this exactly? It's down there. It's down there. That looks fine. All that stuff. And then there was one more thing we needed to do, which is I believe we needed to go ahead and add back a couple of imports I removed down there. Yep, these two. All right, let me add you back. Let me go ahead and grab that. Okay. Let me go ahead and try building that again. Boy. Type or namespace access denied model cannot be found. This is all generated code. Name login model cannot be found. Okay, let's see where those models get generated. Manage data. Yeah, where are my models? Page model. On get. Yeah, I see some of the models there. Boy. Okay, let's take a look at some of these pages. Looks like it's this generated code is where I'm having some difficulty. Oh, that looks all right. That looks all right. Let me go ahead and do a clean on the solution. Problem might be we might have some old files from before. Then I'll do a rebuild. Let's see if that fixed it. Type lockout model. Where's the lockout model from? Access denied model. These are all right here. Let's see. Yeah, sure. Okay. Confirm email model. Cannot be found. Disable to FA. Why is there so much crap for all this stuff? Oop, didn't mean to do that. Okay. Well, if you want to do it that way. Draw together its imports.razor. Server imports razor. The type of namespace HTTP does not exist in namespace. Okay, let's take a look at imports.razor. All right. And what do we have in this imports.razor? I'm just go ahead and grab all that good stuff. This looks just about the same. Only thing I'm really missing. I think I'm missing all the authorization stuff. Yeah, that looks fine. Let's give that another try. Now, if I am missing that, type or namespace client does not exist in the namespace Microsoft.asp.net Signal R. Okay. That means I need to install something. Although everything worked fine. Mash NuGet packages. Let's see. Source, try to get the UI. You know what? I gotta travel a little further back in time. Hey, it somehow verified my commit signature, even though I'm not code signing. Wonder if that's because of the authentication stuff. Let's take a look. What do I need for this? All right. Let's see. What was the shared project? Whoops. Wrong one. So that works. Why would I have a reference to the client project? Thanks, JetBrains. Very helpful. Okay. Here we go. It's that object folder. So I'm having some trouble here. Okay. Let's give that a try. Now that folder's been deleted. Still having trouble. Okay, so we're still having some trouble here. Reset password model. Okay. Where's the reset password model? Reset password. All right. There she blows. What could be causing this, I wonder? What is causing us not to be able to go ahead and compile, even though we actually have our model sitting right here? That's a good question. Let's see. Just Googling another screen. Let's see. Maybe I'm missing something in my startup.cs. That might be responsible for this, maybe. You start, generate layout. Yeah. Okay. Program. That looks all right. That looks all right too. I don't see anything there that makes me think I missed something. Using draw together server to areas identity pages account manage. It's never instantiated. You know what? I wonder. Hosting startup, identity hosting startup. Get connection string. Draw together. Context connection. Go to app settings down here. And we'll grab this. Okay. And this should be raw together. This should be raw together. .db. I gotta commit that. Gotta go back to our development branch. See if I can try rerunning scaffolding again. Man, what a pain in the hell. What a pain in the ass. All right, let's try this again. And let me just make sure the object file. Whoops, let me get rid of that. Make sure the object folder empty again. Get rid of all that. Okay. Add scaffolded item. Bring all that in. Okay, let's see if this goes through. Okay. Get rid of that. Let's see. May not need that. Ah, we already just fixed this. Let me go ahead and edit this again. Yeah, snippet projects. This should be Signoir client. I want to use 5.07. Add that. I stuck this into the wrong project, didn't I? Dang it, I did. All right. Let me grab that. Yeah, I'll grab that. I'll go ahead and do a commit that has these fixes in it, since they seem to be something we need just anyway. Okay, that's all right. Let me go ahead and create a new branch. Fix. Okay. Sure. Fix basic imports and services. I think this is cleanup left over from when we consolidated everything into a single project. Interesting. Wonder how that got broken. Was my dev branch not clean? Was that part of my problem? Yeah, it must not have been. Okay. Well, let me go check out Edwards. Let's go ahead and give this another try. See if I can run everything here. All right. Look at that go. Okay, well, looks like we're in business. I'll go ahead and stop that. Okay. Now, branch D, we go ahead and... All right. Yeah, check out the... We'll do authorization 3. Third attempt to get this right. Man, I swear I think ASP.NET makes this stuff ridiculously hard, and it's also super opinionated, and I don't fully understand why. Yeah, that's fine. Alright, please just run. Right. Feeling cautiously optimistic. Okay. This is where we had trouble last time. Okay. Scaffolding succeeded. Let's go ahead and compile this. Good, good, good. Okay. We are in business. Scaffolded identity. Okay. Well, hey, that only took 3 streams. Get that done. All right. Now, next, we got to test Blazor. We got a couple things we got to do on the Blazor side to get this all to play nice. Let's see. First things first. I got to go to host up here. I think that all seems okay. Maybe it's app.razor. I know I need to make some updates there. Let's see. I'd add, yep, a little login partial. Looks like we already have one. Perfect. Okay, that's there. Imports.razor. That looks all right. Okay, let's take a look at app.razor then. Authorize route view. Okay. All right. All right, so we add that. That looks okay. And then, let's see, somewhere else in here. Component type app, server pre-rendered. Login display. Let's go ahead and add that to is there a layout.razor? Something like that. Shared main layout.razor. Okay. All right. Let's see how this goes. Not well so far. Uh-huh. So maybe I'm missing a login display component. Oh yeah, that'll do it. Okay. All right. I'm going to shut that down. Sure. See how that goes. Why is it looking for test Blazor? Should be my draw together.ui server. I definitely have some test Blazor stuff in here somewhere. Yeah, I wonder what I broke. gotta be this, doesn't it? Yeah, it's gotta be something in here I broke. Let's see. Okay, let's take a look at something important. Ah. Component type app, framework, Blazor, server.js. All right, if I go ahead and shut this down and start this up, does this work? Should. Let's find out. All right, so this works fine. Ish. All right, this looks okay. So what are we doing different? What is different? Navigation. All right, so look at view start. That's different. That was good. Let's grab that. That looks good. Okay, that might be one of the things that was causing some trouble. Okay. Shut that down. Run that again. Please, God, just let me do Akka.net. That's all I want. Still no. Imports.razor. You import login partial. Okay. Add ASP.NET. Blazor. There must be a step I'm missing. Let me pull this up. Yeah. Add an authorized view. Blazor server. Authorized view. Yeah, I'm wondering if I'm missing one of these. Let's take a look. That looks fine. Navigation manager. Layout component base. Index.razor looks fine. Environment, development, unhandled exception, reload. View imports, take a look at that. Let's see. Getting awfully tired of dealing with eccentric UI stuff here. That looks fine. Yeah, that looks fine. Configure services, add razor pages, add server-side Blazor. That looks fine. That looks fine. That looks fine. Aha! I think that's my problem. Okay. Yep, got it. Okay, you have to use a different container type when you're working with authorization. Gosh, that is so not intuitive. No wonder why most people don't bother with this during demos. Just absolute crock. Okay. Is there a way for me to get rid of that? Okay. Okay, let's see if we can get this up and running now. Nope. I saw we had some compiler warnings. Let's see what those were. All right, let's go ahead and build it. Do a rebuild. A found marker component with unexpected name cascading authorization state. Okay. This must be what I'm missing. So there must be another import. Components to authorize. Yeah, I'm missing that. Okay. I think it's these two. Well, because I believe Blazor is interpreted, I don't get compilation errors for that stuff. There we go. Okay. Now that's still weird. Let me take a look at this. Layout view, generate layout cannot be looked at. Okay, let's see if ASP.core. Okay. All right. I'll play your game. Let's go and see if I can find this. Let's see. So it didn't really create any layouts for me. Well, I guess it did. All right, let's give that a try. This thing not fully restart here. Yeah, let's give that another try. Generate layout. Cannot be located. Okay. Well, I'll see what I can do about that. We have a layout like right here. Identity, pages. Looks like there was never any type of layout made. Nope. Actually, let me see if I can find a better one. Yeah, there we go. I'm just gonna go ahead and steal default layout here. Let's see, is this it? All right, see if this works better. Can't believe they gave me a non-functioning navigation. Seriously, what kind of crap is that? Oh gosh. Come on, guys, really? Oh. Whoops. Yeah, that might do it. All right. Start that. Just let me log in. Cookie consent partial was not found. This is identity account login. How can you give me all this stuff? Account login. Okay. Don't see it down there. Let's see here. Trying to go ahead and see. I'm just looking at another tab here to see where these missing partials are. Yeah, where is my cookie consent partial, guys? Come on. Let's see. Okay, there we go. All right. Let's see. Actually, maybe this was defined in my layout I just made. Is this the wrong solution? Yes, it is. Okay. Let's go back down here. Layout. Okay, this is my fault. I copied the wrong thingamajig. All right, that's fine. I'll just go ahead and add new item. Cookie consent partial. Got to make our friends in Europe happy. You know, GDPR and all that. All right, see if that stupid thing runs. Okay. Love of God, just let me log in. Woof. Okay, well, we're certainly going to need to go ahead and do something about updating that. Dear Lord. All right, let's go ahead and register. Aaron at Petabridge. I'll have LastPass generate something. Yeah, sure. Okay. One non-alphanumeric character. Okay. All right. That's fine. Oh, that's just delightful. SQLite error. Okay. SQLite. I should have my SQLite browser in here. Did this thing not go ahead and open? Let's see, open database. I wonder if this thing didn't scaffold any of the tables for me. Let's go to repositories. Try to get the UI server. Let's go ahead and take a look. Oh, here we go. None of the tables got created. Okay. By default, you should have some type of application DB context. Okay, am I missing the context file? Is that what's going on here? Let's see. I see my database. I do not see my connection string. Well, I don't know why this thing was so inconsistent about applying some of these settings. Go ahead and grab this. That appears to be the problem. All right. Move that over. Go ahead. There we go. It's better. All right. Now, what if I take a look at DT server context connection? That's what we're looking for. Data source should be that. Let me just make sure there's no other settings running around here I'm not aware of. Let's see. Let's see. Now that looks fine. All right. Let's go ahead and do stop and rerun. Okay. So I try reloading that. No such table. No such data. If I take a look at the bin folder, what am I going to find? Well, that's disappointing. Okay. Let me take a look at the CS project file here. Make sure this is actually getting copied. It is not. Okay. Build action. Okay. Let's see if that works. Gotta force it to go ahead and try to copy my little SQLite database. Sure. All right. Let's give that a try. Okay. Well, we are getting closer, but I'm going to go ahead and call it a night here. Let's see. It looks like, well, actually, one last thing I can go ahead and try, actually, before I throw in the towel. is I need to go ahead. All right, let me go ahead and give this a try. Yeah, let me stop everything. Okay. Let's see. And you go ahead and run entity framework migration to get this to go. All right. Just looking up how to do this. Okay. Where's my little terminal? Go install the entity framework toolset. Let's see. This is what I need to do. Install the entity framework tools. Run that. Okay. Let's see. Create table if not exists. EF migrations history. Where the hell did that get applied? Go ahead and push that up. Let's give that a try. See, this even modifies the right database here. It isn't. I don't even know what this is doing. Okay. Done. There we go. Okay. Let's see if that's working now. Let's see. DB browser SQLite. Well, well, well. Look at all we've have here. Okay. That looks like it's working. All right. Now let's see if I can actually register an account. Even though our UI looks pretty lousy. Let's see if we can just get this stuff working once and for all. Okay. Oh. Sure. I guess we'll do that. Okay. We are now logged in, supposedly. Oh boy. This thing's got some major problems. I'm gonna need to go and fix this off stream. This authorization stuff just is absolute complete dog shit. The scaffolding doesn't work, doesn't give you a complete solution. The UI looks terrible. The cookies don't appear to be implemented correctly. But it's just what a waste of everyone's goddamn time. All right. The implementation is almost there. I need some love in the UI and tables department. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and leave this as is. We will go ahead and call it a night here. Thank you very much for your time this evening. I had a fun time. I'm really glad we're back on top of this. I want to get to some actual Akka.NET stuff and not spend all this time working on ASP.NET authorization anymore. So we're going to go ahead and try to get back to it as soon as we can. So thank you very much for your time. I hope you all have a chance to attend our little webinar tomorrow. That should be a good time. And thank you very much for sticking with us tonight. Have a good one.